Say hello, everybody. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time watching, then hi, my name's Tiona and I have not long just had my little son Chase. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to talk about what happened throughout the birth of Chase, everything basically from the labour to delivery. Although I didn't film any of the labour or delivery, I did take many photos, and I will be putting those at the end of this video so that you can all have a little nosy at what it was like for me. And I'm not going to lie to you, some of the photos I look very, what's the word, disgusting because I am drugged up, in pain, etc, etc. So I mean, don't think they're going to look pretty and I'm going to look beautiful, because I'm really not. They are quite funny though. I'm glad my boyfriend got those. So let's get started. So prior to this delivery, I had been having reduced movement for about 2 weeks beforehand, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was like 2-3 weeks. For that entire 2 or 3 weeks it was reduced movement like every single day. So a consultant decided that it was the best thing for me that we had an induction, just to bring things a little forward so that he didn't go over my due date, etc. So on Saturday the 21st of October 2017, I was told to go into the hospital for, I believe, 8:30 in the morning. All that morning I had CTGs, checkups, and I was just told to walk a lot to try and like help things go on by myself, as well as them doing what they're going to be doing basically. Then at 2:30 in the afternoon I had my first pessary, which I was so happy about. Nobody will understand how happy I was. But from then on out it was a very long and boring few days, as we could say. During that day you normally have another pessary, the second pessary, 6 hours after the first. So I would have had it at about like 8:30 probably, because I had the first one at 2:30. However, I was unable to have the second pessary because I think the midwife said that they were too busy on the delivery ward. So if I was to go into labour, it'd be too manic basically. So I had to stay in hospital overnight by myself because Mark weren't allowed to stay. Now that's the big thing for me. I hate hospitals and I hate the thought of having to stay in. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I cried a lot and I did not want Mark to leave. I tried to postpone him leaving for as long as possible. I did not like that thought of staying. Hello. So the following morning, on the 22nd of October, I woke up and they did all their routine checks of CTG, heartbeat, etc. like that basically. Then eventually at midday I got my second pessary, which I was so happy about getting. I was like, it's finally happening. Still a very long day, and I got told to walk a lot again, so I did, and nothing was happening basically. By this point me and my partner were very annoyed and bored because I wasn't allowed to leave the hospital, not even just to go home quickly and come back. I wasn't physically allowed. Mark could, but I couldn't, and it was just very boring to see the same walls and the same corridors and walk around the same area. But we were wondering whether Chase would actually ever come, because I wasn't very thoughtful on it. I didn't think he was going to come. So after another day of walking, CTGs and waiting, I had to stay overnight again, and I was just getting so frustrated with the fact of this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was fine, I was fine, but I don't like staying in hospital overnight. So I wasn't happy about it. Mark had to leave the hospital at 9 o'clock, I believe. So I had a bath that night at 9:30. You're grabbing onto my hair, baby. Anyway, so yeah, I had a bath at 9:30 just to see if that would help the labour come on, and just because I wanted to clean myself. I didn't want to be dirty. I was in hospital and I just wanted to be clean. Now to the 23rd of October 2017, where things really started to go along, and we were very happy by the end of today, like the 23rd, by the end of the 23rd, we were super excited. So I woke up on the 23rd thinking, what the hell is the point? He's not going to come. But I got a very nice welcoming by a midwife who looked at me and said, you're going to be really happy. And I was like, yay, yay, yay. And she said, we can break your waters today. And I was so, like, no joke, I was so happy. I was like, are you joking? Because I just didn't believe her, because it was as though nothing was ever going to happen and I was always just going to be in that bed basically. But she wasn't joking, and they could break my waters that day, which did happen, but we'll get to that. So I rang Mark straight away to come in, because I was like, it's happening, get your booty in the hospital now. That didn't happen. He decided to fall asleep again, and eventually I had to get my mum to go and wake him up and tell him that it was happening and that he needed to move, because I didn't want them to do anything until he got there, obviously, which they kindly waited for him. I mean, Chase could have came quicker if he had been quicker, but you never know. So at 8:45 my waters were broken, so 8:45 in the morning, and at 9:15 they decided to put the cannula in my hand, and bloods were taken as well, which they actually messed up and they had to do it again, and I had, no joke, the worst bruise ever on my arm from that. It didn't hurt, but it was the worst bruise ever. From 9:25 in the morning onwards, I was not allowed to leave the room. I had to either stay on the bed or stay next to the... Obviously I could leave the room to go to the toilet, because there's no toilet in the room, in the delivery room. But I had to walk with my drip. Like, I had to drag the drip along with me basically to the toilet. But I wasn't allowed to leave the room, and there was just a bed for me to chill on. So the hours went by, as did my contractions. The contractions did get worse and worse. I was reluctant to having any kind of drug, even gas and air. I just didn't want it, because I just wanted to do things naturally, etc. And I wanted to prove to myself that I was capable, and it didn't hurt. So what was the point in having anything? I mean, if nothing hurts, you don't need anything. The midwife, however, did keep coming in and saying, are you sure you don't want a gas and air anymore? Like, it's quite bad now. But I was like, it's not that bad. Like, I was able to laugh, talk, chill. It didn't hurt to me. I mean, to other people it might have, but to me it didn't. So I didn't want anything, and I kept saying telling the midwife, no, I don't want anything, and she was just looking at me like, are you serious right now? Because if that was me, I would have it. But she actually did say to me that normally at the stage I was at, most people would be on the epidural already, and I was like, what? I didn't want that at all. Eventually the pain did get worse, so I went on to the gas and air and then on to the epidural. I mean, I was annoyed that I went on to the epidural. Not the gas and air, because I knew that eventually I'd have to have gas and air. But the epidural really annoyed me because I didn't want that. Now though, now I've had it, been through it, done it, I'm glad I had it. I couldn't remember any stories that people told me about how bad it was, etc. Because to be honest, everything happens to you differently to others. And that's what I just kept telling myself. So it was all fine and I was happy basically. A lot of people say having the epidural hurts a lot, like being put in the back and stuff. No, I didn't get that at all. I mean, I didn't even feel the doctor putting the epidural in. Unless I did at the time and don't remember it now, but I can remember me sat there at the edge of the bed while he did it and I don't recall it hurting at all. I just recall my contractions happening and me puffing on gas and air and squeezing my partner's hand, basically. I didn't scream once though. That's really good. Actually, yeah, I did. But I didn't in the delivery. In the labour, I screamed. In delivery, I didn't scream. It didn't hurt. Anyway, once the epidural was put in, it was as though the pain just disappeared. I didn't feel the pain at all. I didn't feel one contraction after that. I didn't even need to use the gas and air from what I remember. I could just lay there and do nothing. I was just on my phone, texting my friend who had just had a baby. It was as though I was back to square one again. A lot of people say that when you have the epidural it gives you numb legs and stuff. I mean, I didn't get that either. I could feel every part of my body. Nothing went numb, nothing went wrong, nothing bad happened, which I'm very happy about. So a few hours passed after having the epidural and it was almost midnight basically, and the midwife came in and checked me and said I was a certain amount of centimetres dilated. Now I cannot remember what it was now. I'm pretty sure it was 8 centimetres dilated. I should have asked Mark before filming this, oh well. But yeah, she said I was 8 centimetres dilated and that I could start pushing in half an hour. Now Mark was asleep at this point, but I didn't want to wake him up and tell him yet because I wanted him to have his sleep because he was clearly tired if he was sleeping. I wasn't. I was wide awake. I was super happy. I just knew I was going to have a baby in half an hour basically. But I was just so happy. My mum was there with me, so me and my mum shared the moment of, oh my god, I'm going to have a baby soon. But Mark was just chilling, sleeping on the little seat that he had. So then half an hour passed and I started to push. Now they told me to do it in threes, so I would do one big push, one big push, one big push, have a break. One big push, one big push, one big push, have a break. And let me tell you something. I did not feel a thing. I didn't feel any hands go in. I didn't feel any forceps go in. I didn't feel me pushing him out. Like, I did not feel him come out at all. I just felt him be put on me. That was it. I'm pretty sure that was the epidural. And I'm telling you, if you are pregnant right now and you're looking at and you're listening to me talk about this and you're saying, oh my god, I don't want the epidural, have it. It's good stuff. I mean, I had it really late. I didn't have it too late, but I had it quite late. I longed it out as long as possible so that it would work, and it worked, clearly. I did not need to scream at the midwives or at anybody. I mean, I didn't even think about screaming because it didn't hurt. Like, I couldn't feel anything, so I didn't need to scream. I was just... And every time they'd tell me something, like, oh, we're going to have to do this, or this is what's going to happen, or etc., I'd just be like, okay, okay. Normally, like, all the videos you watch of people giving birth and stuff, they're like, oh my god, kill me now. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't like that at all. But after pushing a few times, his head got stuck and it was a bit swollen at the back of his head, so like here, his head was swollen, so wouldn't come out. So they did have to cut me. They also had to use forceps, but it didn't bother me because it got him out, so it was fine. I couldn't help that his head was swollen and got stuck. Nobody could have helped that. It's just what happened. But he was fine. He was absolutely fine. My baby boy Chase was then born at 12:38 in the morning on the 24th of October, one day before his due date. Myself, my partner Mark and my mum were all just so in love with him. I was emotional. And just thinking about it just makes me emotional. Like the thought of him being put on me, the thought of him coming out, the thought of my first kiss to him, it's really emotional. Mark was in love as well. Like the love you could see the love between them both. He's making a lot of noise over here. But once Mark had changed his nappy, weighed him, etc. No, not even changed his nappy, no. Once Mark had watched him be weighed, cut the umbilical cord, measured him, etc. He was straight on the phone to family and friends, the main people in our lives, and he told them that Chase had been born, and he cried, which he doesn't cry, so it was nice to see him cry. But it was really nice that he told them, because I was with Chase on me while I was getting stitched up and stuff and cleaned up, so for him to be able to tell everybody, that was good for me, so that I didn't have to do it and I didn't have to think about that at all. Hello, stretch. Mark and my mum got some nice photos of the birth, in the fact of like him being put on me for the first time and stuff like that, like photos like that, and I will cherish those photos forever. Like, they are the photos that I will love and look back at, and I'm actually going to cry. It's so like emotional to think about. But he's just grown up. He's 4 weeks today and he's just grown up too much already. But I love him so much. Don't I? Mummy loves you. He's like, no, I don't love you. But, oh, you're squeezing Mummy's hand. So that is my birth story. I mean, it's nothing too exciting and extravagant, but it was my birth story, and I wanted to film this video so that I could look back on it and maybe even help people out. I mean, if you're watching this and you want to know what it's like or whatever, I could be helping you, and that's what I like, basically. But I wouldn't have changed any of my birth for the world. I mean, to me, it went just how it was supposed to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!